In 1994, a 6.5 magnitude earthquake rocked the community of Northridge in Los Angeles. Shortly after, 911 call centers received and recorded a large number of calls asking whether the silver cloud in the sky caused the earthquake. The silver cloud, of course, was the Milky Way. What you're looking at now is the Milky Way, our home galaxy. Some of you may have seen it at night, but chances are a lot of you haven't. That's not that shocking though. Two-thirds of Americans and over half of Europeans have never seen the Milky Way. This isn't surprising considering how much we depend on artificial lighting to light up the night so we can work, play, and go about our activities. But there is a side effect to all this light. It's called light pollution. Okay, so we have Kaylee Green here from the University of Alberta. She's a master's student studying astrophysics, and she's going to talk to us about what light pollution is.
So, light pollution is actually an increasing problem in our society, in our day-to-day lives. And so light pollution is excess waste light. So we light the streets, we light our homes, we have lights everywhere in our cities and office buildings. And most of it just radiates up into the atmosphere. It scatters in the atmosphere.
The International Dark Sky Association is a non-profit agency started in the United States which aims to protect and preserve night environments from light pollution through education and the use of environmentally responsible outdoor lighting designs. There are also dark sky preserves or parks, which are areas that are kept free of artificial light pollution to protect wildlife and allow for astronomy, research, and viewing. Alberta has a total of 4 such preserves with varying sizes. The Jasper Dark Sky Preserve is among the most famous. It is the second largest preserve in the world and hosts the annual Dark Sky Festival. It even has some famous people stop by every once in a while, such as Chris Hadfield. Just east of Edmonton is the Elk Island Beaver Hills Preserve, about 40 minutes away from Edmonton. In southern Alberta, there is the Cypress Hills Preserve, and in northern Alberta, there is the Wood Buffalo Preserve. Exactly how bad is light pollution? Here's a map of light pollution across the world. As you can probably tell, the more developed the nation, the more light pollution is generated. Europe is really bad. However, North America isn't too far behind. The map shows increasing amount of light pollution from the east to the west. You can even distinguish from space where Edmonton, Red Deer, and Calgary are just based on the light pollution that they generate. Before moving on, we need to quantify light pollution. We need to use the Bortle scale. The Bortle scale is a numeric scale from 1 to 9 that measures the sky's brightness. In other words, it quantifies how much light pollution is present and interfering with our ability to observe celestial objects. This map of the United States and part of Canada shows the amount of artificial light added over the natural brightness of the area. As you can see, in the 1950s, the vast majority of North America was dark, meaning artificial light was mostly under 11% over natural brightness. Fast forward to the projected year of 2025, we can see the majority of North America is between 3 to 243 times the natural light level. Here is a close-up of Edmonton, Red Deer, and Calgary. As you can see, Edmonton has it the worst. With pressures to decline greenhouse emissions, light pollution uses 9.1 million tons of coal, or about 32 million barrels of oil. To put that into perspective, that is roughly 2.3 billion liters of gasoline wasted. A 2008 article from Austria found that public lighting was the largest source of the country's greenhouse emissions, accounting for 30 to 50% of emissions to power 2 million public lights. This released over 1 million tons of CO2, a greenhouse gas, into the atmosphere. In order to show the different types of light pollution that occurs around the world, I will be using images and videos of Edmonton and Las Vegas. Light pollution comes in 4 major forms. Sky glow is the brightening of the night sky over inhabited areas. This is a big problem in Edmonton and around major city centers. Edmonton is one of the worst offenders of this type of light pollution in Western Canada, as previously noted from the satellite maps. Sky glow comes off as a white, yellowish cloud along the horizon of the images. Light clutter contributes to sky glow, trespass, and glare. The Las Vegas Strip or Manhattan are great examples of light clutter where bright, confusing, and excess groupings of light sources are present. Glare occurs when bright lights are not aimed correctly and can cause visual discomfort. This type of light pollution is very dangerous and has been fatal in car accidents. Light trespass occurs when light falls on or in an unintended area, such as your bedroom when you are trying to sleep. Here is a warehouse that is using poorly aimed lights on the right. The lights illuminate the yard, but also sections of the highways and street. Here's another example of light trespass. The warehouse is lit up along with a ditch, grass, and the side of the road. Here's a short demonstration of what light pollution of Edmonton looks like. All the images you see were taken over a 3-hour span heading away from the city. Here's a refinery just outside of Edmonton. The sky glow is clearly visible along with the Big Dipper. This image is about 35 minutes east of Edmonton. You can see the aurora, however it is very faint and barely observable with the naked eye. The camera is set to a 30-second exposure, hence why we are able to see it in these images. You can also notice the sky glow coming from Edmonton and Fort Saskatchewan. This image is directly looking back at Edmonton. You can see some stars, but you mostly observe the light pollution coming from Edmonton. This image is taken about 50 minutes east of Edmonton, almost in the same vicinity as Elk Island Dark Sky Preserve. The final image is what you can expect to see on a good winter night, with low cloud cover and light pollution. This image is taken just on the outskirts of the Elk Island Dark Night Preserve. So why should we be worried about it? Light pollution has a huge biological component. Many of the organisms present on Earth follow a diurnal schedule, including humans. This means that we are active during the day and sleep at night, or vice versa. If you're a university student, this usually doesn't apply to you because you're up all the time. Life for millions of years has followed the systematic and routine of sunrise and sunset. The study of biological effects of darkness on biology is known as sociobiology. Animals are also affected by light on numerous levels. Studies have shown that light pollution extends an animal's diurnal cycle. This can have a negative or positive effect depending on the organism, if it is prey or predator. The northern mockingbird males only sing at night before mating. Afterward, the birds only sing under artificial light or full moon. This effect on fitness is unfortunately unknown. Light pollution disorients organisms that are accustomed to the dark. Some of you may have heard about the sea turtles that emerge from nets and head away from dark shapes or silhouettes towards moonlight reflecting off the ocean. However, with beachfront lighting and resort cabana lights, the turtles are moving towards the lights and roadways where they are run over or captured by prey. Lights also affect the egg laying of these turtles. Animals can also be blinded, and it can take up to hours to recover visual capability. Birds can become trapped within areas that are well lit. Once a bird enters a light area such as a city, the bird will not leave. This is a problem for bird migration, especially at night when the birds fly lower or avoid inclement weather. Birds may collide with one another in the spheres surrounding a light or a flare tower, be burned or become exhausted and fall to their deaths, or even become prey. Birds can be attracted to industrial chimneys, lighthouses, broadcast towers, boats, greenhouses, and oil platforms. According to the International Dark Sky Association, 100 million birds die every year from collisions with these structures. These structures can have a direct effect on the mortality and migration paths of birds. Insects are also greatly affected by light. Many taxa show positive phototaxis, which means they are attracted to light sources. A special scenario for insects has occurred at the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas. The sky beam is so bright it can be seen 500 kilometers away from the city and is an FAA designated landmark for pilots. However, the light is also a massive bug attractor and has developed its own artificial microenvironment with moths, bats, and owls. One benefit of artificial light is it can help us solve some problems with fisheries. Lights are used on ladders to allow fish to bypass dams and power plants. Since fish are attracted to the light, they can also be used to attract larval fish to coral reefs. Light can even be used to protect human life. When dispersing mountain lions from captivity, light can be used to keep the animals away from human populated areas, making it safer for both the people and the animals. Studies show that the reproductive behaviors of frogs and birds are altered under conditions of light pollution. Female frogs become less selective over mates when light levels increase, likely due to minimized predation risk. An interesting study found that the amphibians stopped mating activity during high school football games due to the sky glow emitted by the stadium lights. Once the lights were switched off or the enclosures were engaged to shield the lights, mating courses resumed. Birds choose to build their nests farther away from lights from roads. Nesting densities of birds were much lower within 300 meters of lit roadways. Artificial lights make it harder for organisms to communicate. The ability of males to find female glowworms using bioluminescence is impaired under artificial light sources. Complex firefly communication patterns become disrupted by sky glow, while larger animals such as coyotes are unable to communicate effectively. Coyotes under a full moon will yip, howl, signaling pack territories, packs, or mass assembling of packs to hunt large animals in the dark. The effects of light pollution go beyond just a single species. complex community ecological interactions such as competition and predation are directly affected by light pollution. A Swiss town installed lights which led to the disappearance of the European lesser horseshoe bat, and they were outcompeted by the pipistrelle bat that took advantage of the light and insects attracted to it. These kind of things alter the community structure of an ecosystem. The point I'm trying to make here is the number of species and trophophilabels are impacted by light pollution. Zooplankton naturally migrates to the surface when there is a full moon out and fish use this lunar light trap to feed. With ships, artificial lights, and sky glow, this predatory-prey relationship has become disrupted, leading to a cascade of unwanted side effects in an ecosystem. Just like every other type of pollution, humans are also subject to the dangers of light. Light, in general, affects the human circadian rhythm. This cycle regulates the physiological processes not just in humans, but animals as well. The physiological processes include brainwave patterns, hormone production, and biological activities. The cycle is responsible for helping us fall asleep at night when there's less light. The cycle is also responsible for the dreaded jet lag we suffer when crossing time zones. The circadian rhythm works by inhibiting or increasing the production of melatonin in light and dark situations. In short, melatonin is responsible for our daily sleep-wake cycles. How bad are the effects of an altered circadian rhythm, you may wonder? Any type of light will interfere with the rhythm. Light pollution causes a decrease in melatonin, which deregulates human eating and sleep patterns. This has been linked to sleep disorders, obesity, depression, diabetes, and an increase in the growth of cancer cells. One study found that artificial light at night increases the body mass by shifting the time of food intake. There are numerous studies on the links between artificial light and breast cancer. One study found that the melatonin-depleted blood in women that were exposed to light at night stimulated the growth of human breast cancer tumors. In fact, the Journal of National Cancer Institute found that night shift work, light at night in general, increases the risk of breast cancer. Even the World Health Organization's International Cancer Research Division classified night shift work as a carcinogen. Light and shift work suppresses the normal nocturnal production of melatonin by the pineal gland. The pineal gland is a small endocrine gland in the back of the brain. The suppression hence increases the release of estrogen by ovaries. It is believed that the cancer is prevented by melatonin. Over 90% of humans, ductal carcinomas, and over 80% of normal human breast tissue have melatonin receptor sites. It is believed melatonin binds to these receptors, blocking the uptake of tumor nourishment, inhibiting cancer cell growth. A recent study found that patients diagnosed with breast cancer had epigenetic changes in the circadian clock genes. Light is affecting us on a genetic level. The study also looked at the incidence of cancer in individuals who work at night, blind women, or women who sleep longer than recommended. In a study of over 121,000 nurses, it was found that nurses who have been on a rotating night shift for more than 30 years have developed an association with breast cancer. In 2010, 1.5 million women were diagnosed with breast cancer, making it the most prevalent form of cancer in women and the leading cause of cancer death. One of the scariest things about the statistic is that the risk is greatest in developed nations as opposed to non-developed or developing nations. This is believed to be linked to the amount of lights and the night shifts that are common in developed nations to keep the wheels of society rolling. So how much light is exactly too much? Well, calculations show that the red light at 100 lux would take 403 hours to suppress melatonin concentrations by 50%. Candlelight takes 66 minutes, while a 60-watt incandescent bulb takes 39 minutes. A 58-watt fluorescent daylight bulb takes 15 minutes, and a pure white high-output LED takes just 13 minutes. The worst type of light is blue light. This is because the eyes have special receptors for this short wavelength of light. Humans exposed to 6.5 hours of this light showed a twofold delay in the circadian phase when compared to normal light. Blue light is everywhere. It's used in HIDs, or high-intensity discharge light systems for vehicles, electronics such as cell phones, TVs, and computers. It is actually recommended that you should stop using these devices 30 minutes before bedtime. The study concluded that blue light posed a serious risk to human health. Despite all the bad news about light pollution, there is some actually really good news. Light pollution of all the different types of pollution is one of the easiest to control. Through smarter light designs such as shielding or the use of full cutoff lights, we can prevent light pollution. There is also LEDs, light-emitting diodes, which are compact, low-heat generation, and environmentally friendly light sources. They're also mercury-free. LEDs also last longer, up to 50,000 hours versus an incandescent bulb of only 1,200 hours. They only require about 4 to 5 watts compared to the 60 watts of an incandescent bulb. And they cost $33 a year to use, while incandescent bulbs cost a crazy $328 a year. LEDs can be computer controlled to meet varying needs of light throughout the day. This can prevent energy and light waste. CFLs are also environmentally friendly and a viable option, however, contain mercury, which is an environmental concern. They also generate heat and cost about $77 a year to operate. Using smart shielding requires less energy as the lights are aimed properly and illuminate a larger area through smarter design. The City of Calgary has installed flat lens fixtures for roadway lights, which saves the city approximately $1.7 million a year. You can also reduce the different forms of light pollution. Light waste can be reduced by using timers and motion sensors on outdoor lights, or if you're not using them, just turn them off. Light trespass and glare can be solved by proper shielding and directing lights downward. Over-illumination can be reduced by using a lower watt bulb, and all these suggestions will help us reduce light pollution. However, the best solution is simply shutting the lights off when we don't use it, such as in office buildings at night. There are new light ordinances being used by cities all around the world. Paris, for example, has instituted policy where shops are required to turn lights off between 1 a.m. and 7 a.m. The Notre Dame Cathedral has turned down wattage from 54,000 watts to just 9,000. A little bit closer to home, Strathcona County has enacted Light Efficiency Community Policy. The policy aims to achieve these 4 goals: improve the nighttime environment and quality of life, reduce energy costs and waste, return a natural heritage of dark skies to the community, and serve as an example to other communities for the adoption of similar lighting practices. As you can see, that a small light switch in the corner of a room has offered humanity lots of benefits, but we still don't understand the full cost of these benefits. As Isaac Newton once said, an object at rest will remain at rest, and an object in motion will remain in motion. So when will we put light pollution, or any pollution in general, to rest? For centuries, astronomers, scientists, and philosophers have looked to the skies for inspiration and answers to life's greatest mysteries. Are we alone? Where did we come from? Why are we here and not there? Whatever happened to Walter White at the end of Breaking Bad? It is these questions that have pushed us to explore space, science, and the human condition. So I leave you with this final quote.